These are the things these are engrams. Do you understand what I'm saying? When you intentionally cause trauma, and I said this beforehand, if you didn't want to, if you didn't want, no one forced you to cast yourself as a bad actor in my story. So when I recount my story and it's shown that you were a bad actor, don't be mad. Don't get salty now. No one forced you to cast yourself as a bad actor. Now I'm gonna say that I admit that I was like, oh shit, I'm auditioning for bad actors because I had that mind state. I was auditioning for bad actors. So I was casting, but no one forced you to take that role. You decided to take that role yourself. So I'm like moving up on this shit. I've known Michael since I've known Grimace since fucking goddamn the 7th grade, since John Burroughs. That's some real ass shit. I've known Grimace since the 7th fucking grade. I've also known James Pruitt from the 7th grade. Me and James Pruitt do not have the same fucking relationship that me and fucking Grimace have. So if I just want to go back and start hating on motherfuckers from the past, I'll be like, oh, James did. And me and James have had our issues over fucking goddamn the fucking, you know what I'm saying, 30 some odd years that we've known each other. But never to the point where this man was maliciously out to fucking get me. James has always been my motherfucking homeboy. Fellas is all, I mean, that's another when it comes to that, me and Fellas have been cool since motherfucking goddamn fucking high school. And Grimace has always been like Grimace and Thomas has always been like the in between me and Thelus. Like, it's crazy that he jumped on Thelus' page about that. That's like unique. Like Thelus having been like the whole Sandra thing. You know what I'm saying? And it's now more sensible now that I'm thinking in relationship to my mom. My mom was like, okay, Derek can't be around. Thelus can't be around. But Thomas needs to be around. Michael needs to be around. Timothy needs to be around. Henry can't be around. And Arnold, he needs to be around. But individuals, like when Mike was supposed to, like Matthew, needs to be around. Like when Mike was, and I don't want to put people's business out, this is in the past. When Mike needed a place to stay when I was living in the jungles, and I was like, and Keyshawn called my house. Keyshawn called my house and was like, hey dude, is Mike there? And I was like, nah, he's not here. He was supposed to. We had talked about it, but he's not here. And I'm like, okay, and you know what? This is when I'm in the jungles right now. So I'm in the jungles in 90, 91. Keyshawn is calling my house, asking if Mike is there. So, and that whole disruption was like because of some Michael shit. And then it's like, okay, finally, William moves into my apartment. The nigga I didn't want to move in my apartment. But it's the nigga that my mom encourages to be in my apartment. Now she can't stand William. It's the nigga that fucking Matthew encourages to be in my apartment because Matthew's another one of the motherfuckers. And Grimace and Matthew, oh my God, nigga, oh shit. I don't even talk about that old crazy shit. So I'm just like, I'm at this point right now where, you know, this is the catharsis. I cannot not, you know what I'm saying, tell my story anymore. Like these motherfuckers who, you know what I'm saying, I invited to my house and I fed. You know what I'm saying? Arnold once went one time to Earl. Fed at Ralph's. Alton is a dude that I knew, a nigga I know would take his shirt off and give it to me if I needed it. Do you know Arnold, when I was going through my worst, and these niggas couldn't wait to see, they could, when I failed, they couldn't, when my mom kicked me out the house and put me on the motherfucking goddamn, cause I was doing it just before that. I was taking cabs around town, nigga had bread, whatever, was shopping, had a whole fucking bunch of shoes and shit. These niggas was angry then, you know what I'm saying? But then when finally my mom, and I remember when I was supposed to get the escort. That's some crazy shit too. And I went to go save that money to get that escort too, and Grimace ended up getting that escort. That's the kind of shit that I'm talking about. That's the kind of shit I'm talking about. I like malicious shit. Like, that was some malicious shit. Like fucking Thomas calling me over to his house to video record me with a sign around my neck saying the victim. While Derek, and somebody else sat there and roasted me, and Derek was like, I'm not into that shit. And I got up and walked away, and that's the shit that Thomas was saying he was sorry for. Because that was some public shit that niggas was involved in. Like, this nigga really, and he always tried to get, I mean, it was like he always tried to get Derek involved with the fucking goddamn mayonnaise on the phone and shit. And we'd be mad at Thomas that Derek wouldn't want to be involved in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you really seriously want me to be involved in some fucking like cruel ass shit? Yeah, a joke I'm cool with. Yeah, a practical joke I'm cool with. But to the point where this shit is getting malicious, my nigga, I'm out of this shit. And Thomas would be mad that motherfuckers didn't want to be malicious. And that's the same thing with motherfucking, like the time at Stacy's house with fucking Vance. And fucking we in our fucking our late teens now. And fucking, you know, Grimace still want to do this shit in our late teens, and Vance gets up and walks out. Niggas just started growing up. I mean, niggas really started growing up. And I remember when niggas started growing up, and I remember when niggas just didn't want to grow up. Some niggas just didn't want to grow up. Some niggas was like, I'm beyond this shit. Some niggas said, oh yeah, this was cool when we was teenagers. But why are we continuing this shit? And it's like some niggas just decided they wanted to never let go. They wanted to do this shit as long as they possibly fucking could do this shit. And that's where I'm at right now. I'm like, okay, I see where we're at. I'm like, dude, this is your karma, homie. It's mine too. It's my karma. It's their karma. I'm like, I see my mother's flying monkeys now. I didn't see that shit beforehand. Cause you know, I was like, I see these niggas as like haters, and I never saw the connection to my mother and my brother. You know, my brother loves St. Thomas. My brother and Arnold, oh my God, and I remember this shit. Brian and Arnold going at it. And Brian got back from Howard and was not as gun-ho as he was beforehand. And Arnold was dismayed that Brian was not on his side like that. Not to say that Brian would continue, he would, go back to like being Brian. But that was like, that's that gaslighting shit. When Brian got back from Howard, he had a different state of mind. And even Matthew was like dismayed because he was used to Brian being like, his double team partner. That's crazy. I'm like, wow. This is the catharsis. This is when you just don't give a fuck no more about hurting people's feelings no more. You're more concerned about your own well-being. I'm more concerned about my own well-being. That's some crazy shit. And I'm like, wow, dude, that's like, and I can timeline this shit. I can timeline this shit. What the fuck? See, I'm like, and it's like my grandmother died, and we went to go, my great-grandmother died, and we went to Colombia when I was in the jungle. Brian was staying with me. And that's like the first period of time that's the beginning of the good life right there. That's the beginning of me going to the good life, really, really, is after my grandmother died. I was going before that. But after that, I really started coming with a mind state of, what I'm saying, I wanted to do something different. But that's okay. B. Hall and her son started it. And that's what happened. That was B. Hall's idea and her son's idea because he was into hip-hop. It just happened to be that I was deeply in the underground scene of hip-hop and happened to be coming to the good life. I don't know. That can't possibly be. That can't possibly be it. It had to be that B was there. But I'm thinking about LACC and shit, and being at LACC during the time that I was in Truth's house. That's like 93, 94. Because Carol put me in the boarding care after I got out of fucking the forensic hospital at Norwalk. Now she could have put me in an apartment. She could have got me fucking Section 8 even then, and got me into an apartment. But instead, she put me in a boarding care where they would medicate me on a regular basis. Matter of fact, we went to go look at apartments before that. Apartments that I could afford and had the credit to get. Or she had the credit to get or could get the credit to get it. She got Brian into an apartment. Before he got on Social Security, she got Brian into an apartment over in Lamar Park. I'm just saying, it's and then Yoli's sitting there and I'm like, wow, Yoli, you're gaslighting me. That's my mom's niece, whatever, because her and Larry Keenan were or were not married. I don't know what the fuck that is. I have no idea. But Larry Keenan's sister, Yolanda, Elton, what's your problem? Oh, my problem is these people. But it's not really necessarily just these people. It's me and my codependency upon these people. That's what my problem is. You know, you can't help being codependent upon your parent, though, for at some point in time because it's your parent. You know, you depend upon your parent. That's a part of this, you know, this process called life, is that you are assigned a parent and you depend upon them for your subsistence and nurturing. And it's like, wow, me against the world. At the end of the day, you just don't, you know, you have no friends. You have no family. Not saying that I'm one of those motherfuckers that give up. I don't give up. I can't be stopped. Y'all all gonna need 4 more people. The roof is on fire. We don't need no water. Let that motherfucker burn. Let that motherfucker burn. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, I remember 3, 2, 1. On 30th Street in Santa Monica. Shit started before that shit happened, you know. Oh, that's crazy. I'm like, what the fuck, man? So the tough love thing, that's when Carol stops playing for my dental and shit. 16. And I forgot all about her tough love episode that started like in 86, 85, 86. That's when things started getting foggy. Like, look at my knees. Carol and Brian would be like, hey, dude, your knees are so, you're fucking goddamn, you shouldn't be wearing shorts and shit. Why shouldn't I wear shorts? I love shorts. I always love shorts. I do cutoffs all the time. But all of a sudden, they want to talk me out of fucking doing cutoffs. Why do you want to talk me out of doing cutoffs? What's the deal with that shit? In shorts. My legs are skinny. My legs aren't that skinny. I like my legs. They look nice. Oh, it's my knees. See, that confidence is derived from that skill set, skating. There's a monicum of, it's called Keanu. We say Keanu, but it's called Keanu. It's that courage you derive from that confidence from skating. It's that skater cool. See, you can't brainwash somebody with their confidence, that self-esteem. You have to take that self-esteem away. And if there's a source for self-esteem, you really want to get rid of that. Something like skating. You ever see that thing with fucking, what's his name, Seinfeld and Chris Rock talking about fucking the determination of a skater? And what kind of determination it takes to be a skater? You gotta fail over and over and over and over again until you succeed. And not only do you have to fail, you have to feel it. So it builds a certain level of character. Military love surfing, skating, because it builds a certain level of character. They encourage it. So you want to know how I got these scars? See, that's crazy. I have memories, right? And I remember it to a certain extent. But this shit is really crazy. But crazy people do crazy shit. So therefore, it's going to appear to be crazy. They take crazy actions, so therefore the crazy actions have crazy results, and you're just looking at it like, oh, fuck, this shit looks crazy. Because it came from the minds of crazy people. It came out of the motivations of crazy people. So their actions were crazy, so therefore the results are crazy. So if you're looking back at it, you say, oh shit, that shit looks really crazy. I get that now. So yeah, I'm calling names and shit. I'm fucking, yeah. I'm kicking ass and fucking goddamn taking names later. And I'm just saying, dude, you know, if you didn't want to be casted as a bad actor, nigga, maybe you shouldn't have casted yourself as one. I'm gonna get deeper in this shit.